All right, good morning. Well, we're in for a treat. One of my clients, we had a bit of an issue with a magnetic field in the bedroom upstairs, and there was a power cable connected to the front of the house that seemed to travel underneath that bedroom. So in order to fix that cable, that supply cable is going to be moved. So the power to the house will have to be disconnected and reconnected in a different point in the hope that this magnetic field will disappear. So we are here, we've got permission to share this with you, so we are very fortunate. So let's have a quick look upstairs at the problem, and then they're going to disconnect the power, and then we'll wait until the reconnection to see if that fixed it. Let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, let's go and have a look. Morning.
Nice to read.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, so this is the, they've just moved in. All right, so this is the bedroom in question. So as you can see, we've got that power cable coming in over there that's connected to the house right over there, and we've got this magnetic field on the floor here, if I remember correctly. Not as potent as it was initially when we, oh yeah, there we go. See, and so when we take that meter up to where a bed would be, we were still measuring it. So we can basically trace this magnetic field going from this direction and towards that direction. So it's sort of, it's an assumption, but it's a logical assumption that cable, because the circuit breaker panel, or sorry, the meter is in that direction down there. So it makes sense that cable runs underneath this bedroom to get to that to the utility meter. Sorry. From the utility meter, it then goes to a circuit breaker panel in the house. So as you can see, they're already busy getting the new cable sort of in place. So they're holding off for us to disconnect it. So we better let them know that they can go ahead. So yeah, very cool. Alright, so the other cable's been dropped, and then we're gonna, this one will be connected, so it's cool to see these things up close. Now, the rules state that the cable needs to be attached to the front of the house. So ideally we would have had that cable stuck on a pole and then underground to to the utility meter, but so it has to be mounted there. So at least what we're achieving here is that supply cable that we're assuming runs underneath that bedroom, that's no longer energized. So from here it'll go down to the utility box, which is over here. So as you can see, we've got a smart meter here, but that bedroom has already been shielded, so that's taken care of. All right, so cable being hoisted up. Obviously, putting the right tension on. Okay, so the power used to come up, let's say over there, right, and then run underneath that bedroom and drop down towards the utility meter over there. Now, power is going to come up on that point down to the utility meter. Now, what used to be the case was that to get to the supply cable, which is kind of there behind me, the power would run following the same path and go to the utility meter. So we had two, let's say, supply cables running past each other, just just sort of dipping down to get to the utility meter. So now our electricians have done is that the power is going to come down to the utility meter, and then it's going to continue down, and underneath this floor, not right underneath the floor, but lower against the brickwork that's there, follow that around, and that's how it's going to go out towards the utility, sorry, the circuit breaker panel. So let's just have a look. So at the moment, of course, we've got very low readings here, so that's likely to increase a little bit when the power is connected. But we're hoping that having not two cables next to each other is going to make that a lot less. So let's see what we've got. So up here, very low magnetic field readings, which was great when we measured this as well when we did the pre-purchase inspection before this property was made an offer on. Okay, so let's have another look upstairs. Our power is hello. Power is disconnected. Sorry. Yeah, is that all right? Knock, knock. Hello. Okay. A quick measure while the power is disconnected. See, so there's magnetic fields that we saw here before. They're now gone because the power is disconnected. So, all right, so we'll have to see what happens when the powers are reconnected. Okay, just in case you're wondering with this house, because of course I'm only showing you a little snippet of the story. This house was available to be purchased. The purchasers then approached us to do a pre-purchase inspection. And so we looked at different types of electronic pollution, which we find in a lot of houses, and you don't really find anything that doesn't need fixing. But what you're definitely looking for in a pre-purchase inspection is that there's no magnetic fields. Because magnetic fields, which come from typically power supply, as in running through the street, that can be unfixable, as in it penetrates the house no matter what you do, and so you're desperately trying to avoid those. And so that was okay. So that was, let's say, the green light for the purchase. They put their offer in and were successful with it. All right, so then house was theirs, and then we needed to address the issues that we had found. So we found radio frequency radiation from things like cell phone towers. And you're seeing that in an increased amount of houses now, because we're just getting more and more of that stuff. With this particular house, upstairs, when you look out the window, you've actually got quite a bit of a view of the city. And so the city also has a view of you, as in all those little cell phone towers that are sitting in that view that you don't really identify because they're so small, but they can see you, direct line of sight. And so whenever, you get radio frequency radiation in most houses, but if you've got a view, then you tend to pay for that, definitely with a higher exposure to radio frequency radiation. So that was a problem basically in all upstairs bedrooms, and the downstairs bedrooms was also higher than it wanted to be. And so, so the decision was made to shield the 5 bedrooms against radio frequency radiation. So that's where the T98 shielding paint comes in. So painters came in. We went for 3 coats in light of 5G being introduced, and so that was all applied and that was grounded, because the bedrooms upstairs have let's say a ceiling underneath it with ceiling lighting. There's also electrical wiring that electric fields can be thrown off of. We also shielded the floor with mesh, GPA mesh, which was also grounded. So we basically have those bedrooms nicely encapsulated in shielded material. And because it's grounded, it also, any electric fields from wiring is caught and basically led away. Now, of course, you're still going to want to live there and plug things into your power outlets, right? Yes, you could every night unplug whatever's plugged in, but that gets old really quickly and people don't keep that up. So we have cut-off switches that can cut the power to a circuit when it's not in use. And so we, because this house is relatively close to me, we shielded the rooms first. That was all done, and then it was a relatively quick test to see which circuits were still affecting those bedrooms with electric fields. And it turned out that only in this scenario, because the rooms were already shielded, only one circuit affected a bedroom, and in total there were 3 circuits that affected the 5 bedrooms. So we only needed 3 circuit cutoff switches. Now, of course, there are sometimes appliances on these circuits that need power all the time, and so they would keep these circuits open all the time. And so then the system wouldn't work, so a few things needed to be rewired to get power from another circuit, and so that's what they're doing at the moment. So that's addressed the electric field in the room. We had the radio frequency radiation addressed with the shielding, and the only thing that's missing in the rooms yet at the moment is the Nova shielding fabric for the windows. The levels are already dramatically less with the with the windows unshielded and basically wide open to radio frequency radiation coming in. We already have a 90% reduction in the body absorption of the radio frequency radiation. So that's already great, but we needed to get to that lowest level, and so we definitely want to do those windows because you don't want to leave holes, because even if it was acceptable, if the outside situation changes, more towers get installed, nobody puts a letter in your box saying like, hey, 3 kilometers away, put another tower up. Your radio frequency radiation exposure in your bedroom might have changed. Nobody lets you know this stuff, right? So it has a liability if you don't enclose yourself. It's the same philosophy why you don't never shield one wall, basically. So that's that. So we're just waiting for fabric. That's the next step, to just put the finishing touches on that bedroom, and I think we'll be welcomed back to make a quick video recording for you of what the outcome was in terms of radio frequency radiation, and then we got the story a bit complete for you. So yeah, anyway, with this stuff, if you have an existing house, chances are you've got stuff there that's irritating you, especially while you're asleep. Your bedroom is most important because that's where the body rests and regenerates, and so you need to get that investigated. And our consultants, we've come from working with patients and health clients, with our health clinic in Austria, and so we have a habit of assessing the body instead of the air, and that has, for us, proven very worthwhile to see and judge whether or not the body's under stress or not. And so if you contact one of our consultants or associates through our website, then you get them coming in with our approach, with the meters that can assess the body, and you can figure out what goes on in your house. Now, most houses are perfectly fine to be updated, as in some mitigation is often required, especially those electric fields. They're almost in every house. But you won't know exactly what your to-do list is until you get it properly assessed. So contact one of our people. We'll assess it with you. We don't actually assess it for you, as in we like to get you involved. You'll be holding the meters. You'll learn so much during these assessments, and you'll understand it a lot better that way. And then you can take action from there and change your situation, which of course is what it's all about. All right, so let's have a look where we are now in terms of the power having been reconnected. We're back. So the truck's already been. I missed that. But that's okay. The cable was already in place, so I'm guessing they've just connected it to the actual electricity up there. So now that cable's live again. And so now it's going in on the other side, the other extremity of that bedroom. So again, the problem was, or what we thought the problem was, or could have been, that supply cable was running underneath the bedroom to go down to the utility meter. And then from what the electricians told us, the supply to the house basically went back up along the same cable, back over that bedroom's floor and to the other side of the house, to the circuit breaker panel. So now they've basically removed that cable or abandoned it and run a new cable from the circuit breaker panel underneath the floor, kind of, that area here, along that brickwork to the utility meter that's there. And so now that supply cable comes in here and goes down. It would have been nice if that box wasn't even attached there. I would have preferred it to have been on a pole in the front yard, then gone underground to go to the utility meter. But the rules didn't allow that, so this was the next best thing. All right, so let's have a look.
Wall. Yeah. So to get the cable to where we need it to go. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. So the house is live again, as you can see, the lights are on. Knock. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so now we've got nice, gorgeous low readings on the floor here. And it's under 30 nanoteslas. And it's the same as being less than 0.3 milligauss, so that's brilliant. Okay, now if we move up a little bit here, even lower readings, great. Okay, so this is, I mean, this bed can be moved obviously, but if we measure here, so the power cable's coming in over there, right? So here we are also under 30 nanoteslas, or under 0.3 milligauss. Perfect. This was significantly higher before. Let's just go a little bit closer still. Still nice, gorgeously low readings. And of course, this will vary depending on how much is actually running in the house. So if you turn more things on, more current is used, and then you could get some more magnetic field, but I wouldn't expect this to deviate much from this already low reading. So that's great. Let's just have a look here too. Yep, nice low readings. Of course, I can't come too close with my phone because that will also have a bit of an effect. Okay, so I heard Ryan say, the electrician, that the brick wall runs underneath here, so that's where that cable is running past. So we've got the utility meter behind there, so that supply cable going to the circuit breaker panel runs underneath here. Let's have a look. Okay, so here we do have some of that magnetic field. Now let's go away from that, right? And so a little, I mean, that's 30 centimeters, 1 foot away. It's already reduced to really nice low readings. All right, so because the supply cable has to go somewhere, of course that magnetic field that's sort of around it, that's moved somewhat, but nice low readings unless we get right on top of the floor. See, in here it gets a little higher. All right, so so all in all, I think a worthwhile outcome. We've cleaned the bedroom up upstairs dramatically because the supply cable, from the sounds of it, was running along the cable that then disappeared into the house to go to the circuit breaker panel. So basically the two cables combined. Now they're no longer combined. They've got their own little route to take, and so the magnetic fields are less. So I think job well done. All right, hope you found this interesting. If you'd like to know more about how to get your home assessed, or also to become a consultant yourself, which is perfectly doable, then please follow the links to our website for more information. All right, thanks. Wheels up, hands up.
So, and now you go and touch your hand on the window. Now we have a reading of 270 volt per meter.
Or you measure the absorption of the body. So when we measure people, we measure them whilst they're in bed. But I can guarantee you bump into it.